Hey, so we're back here with another dev video. I haven't done one in, I think, a couple days here. Yeah, without that headset, it's been really difficult getting these videos out because this mic I'm using has a tendency to want to just stop functioning on its own. I mean, after all, mic was built in like 2001. It's a miracle it works. I mean, especially because it's an El Cheapo. I think it was like $5 or $10 is what this was paid for back when it was still sold in Walmart and Best Buy. Anyways, we're in one of our older test worlds, which we've really messed up, and we're going to kind of just take a run through, and then we're going to more than likely implement something new in ICBM rather than just spend a whole bunch of time working on bug fixing. One thing I like to want to show off though is I've been making some progress on the Armory mod. This is for a client commission, of course, but this code is carried over in Armory mod as well. So we now have the ability to aim down sights. This is something that's actually been in there for a while, and all it is just a render change. The gun pretty much fires the same both aimed and unaimed at the moment. There is some still bugs to play, like if you aim and you click it unaimed. So we still got to fix that. Quite a few things left to do in the Armory mod and a lot of stuff. Well, we got audio, which is pretty nice. Also, you guys might be getting a slight echo because I'm using speakers with this microphone. I am in complete, utter lack of microphones and headsets and stuff. So let's see. We got that. This one actually still needs work, because you notice when I click the aim button, it actually goes down instead of where it's supposed to go. Yeah, there's a lot of work that has to be done still. And unfortunately, I think I just broke the aiming on this one. Ah, it worked. Oh yeah, that's right. We added a lower state to a lot of the guns too now. I need to fix it so it doesn't work on the RPG. But the lowered state is where when you're walking around, the weapon will be lowered by default. So that way when you're moving, it doesn't look like you're trying to kill somebody every single time. Doesn't seem to be working on this gun. As you notice, we do have an aim down aim state now. By default, all guns are in like a fire from the hip state. We do want to get some models for the player that would actually show the player gripping the weapon rather than what this is, which is kind of half-assed in my opinion. Same thing for the rifle, it just doesn't look good. You can see the grip right there on the side, and it, oh wow, I got a lot of work to do. My client's probably pissed at me right now. I gave him this download yesterday. Oh well. Anyways, we're not here to do any of that stuff. I just felt like showing it off why I warmed up for the day. What we're going to end up working on is some ICBM stuff for Classic, and we're going to be implementing a new missile here if the time allows. So right now, our largest missile is the standard. We're going to be implementing one size above this. It was graciously created by Alex32 something. Let me just open up chat. It'll be easier to get his name because he's got a whole bunch of numbers. So Alex33212 here has decided to go ahead and make us a series of missiles. He's right now working on the large one. And he has finished, if I can find, yeah, here's what the large one's actually going to look like. This is the 32-meter tall one. He just finished the 16-meter tall one, which is actually, I think, 12 meters. But let's see if we can find it. You know, I have a picture of this on my desktop. That'd be so much quicker to find, most likely. Yeah, there's an old design for the standard missile, by the way, we were showing off. Here we go. So this is the new missile that's going to be added. We'll get this showed off in game. It is a multiple stage missile. I believe it's got 3 separation points in the hull, although it's got only 1 booster phase and 1 warhead stage. But I think the engine can be separated away from it for reasons. It is crafting supported, so it will work with our current system, and it's going to be launched about the same way the standard missile is. So if we can come down here and show off the standard missile, so I can explain how we're going to do it before we go ahead and begin coding, because I honestly don't have a solid plan for implementation at the moment, but I kind of am going to use this opportunity to think of something. So we got the launch pads. These, by the way, are just decorative, but the plan is you'll have a minimum pad size of a 3x3 to launch this, because this thing is actually bigger than a block. And then you're going to have the conventional scaffolding. So we have a computer here, and most likely the computer is actually going to be up 1 block. And then you're going to build a 16-meter tall one of these. And this is going to be your launch control tower. There will be a separate umbilical tower, which I'm asking him to make right now, which will be used to actually fuel the rocket. We're actually going to add a fuel system here pretty soon. I don't know how tall this thing is. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But you'll have one of these, and I'm actually going to work on making this so you can build it a little farther away. The same with the standard missile. Because right now, if we pull this out here, let's go ahead and build a standard missile setup. And I need a screwdriver. To put this here, I believe the standard missile is 5 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A little bit different from, I think, the original. The original is 6, but I reduced its height. And that top one will update here eventually. Well, it's supposed to. Maybe I need to add one more. Always weird when this stuff doesn't decide it wants to work properly. Come on, do your thing. Oh well. The top block's not updating, and it probably could be just a simple render glitch or something. Probably an update glitch. I think it's this one that's supposed to update, but the code might be screwed up and it's trying to do this one, or it's some logic's happening. Work on that. But this is currently what the standard looks like. So you're going to imagine the medium missile is going to be roughly the same type of setup. And it's going to be crafted roughly the same way. But right now, this missile has to be literally right next to this. And there's no reason for it, because what this is used for, this is your launch control tower. It just kind of launches the missile. It's not a guiding rod, it's not a support beam. It just kind of exists for the sole purpose of allowing me to make multi-blocks so that way you can craft properly and you can do your thing. More than likely, we're going to be working on making it so that the missiles themselves don't even require this eventually. So this will just be an optional feature that will allow you to more easily launch missiles. But then we'll probably make a system where you can launch a single missile from anywhere. Because the reality of it is if you've ever seen a missile, they actually don't require a lot of special hardware to launch. They are the special hardware to launch. They have their engine in the lower section, their fuel, and then a warhead up here on the top. Although the top, a very tip, is actually a crush cone, the warhead is actually down here somewhere. You can see this if we actually could get the construction model, but I'm not going to go through the process of that right this moment. Anyways, let's go ahead and get closed down here, and let's start working on getting us the models in here. I need to go dig through my request folder. What I did is when Alex here gave me the model, I went ahead and tossed in here the model he gave me. That way I know it's from him. And that way I can sit here and export it and take a look at it. Now, the texture isn't loading properly in here for whatever reason. I'm not familiar enough with Blender to fix the texture myself inside in the software, but the texture does work. That much I do know. We can tell because it's all pink when it's probably should have something on here. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and export this. So we're going to hit export. We're going to export as an object right now. I am going to be working on a Collada export system, or a Collada import system for Minecraft here pretty soon, because I want to start using Colladas because they support animation really, really well. They also would inevitably replace the need for us to do really complicated JSON render systems, because Collada models are hierarchy driven and they're much better than wave objects. Wavefront objects do have hierarchy in them, but they're not very good. Is a good way to put it. Yeah, I would just call this missile an export object because I'll rename it myself. So that it exported in here, and all I need to do is just rename this to, I think missile is the standard. Hold on. Let's go ahead and see if I can get fast link to something. Wow, there's not. The thing is, I pin these up to here every so often, but for some reason Windows keeps removing my pinned objects. So resources, assets, ICBM, then we want models, missile. Now what we probably want to do is go ahead and toss, I don't know, do we need all of these models? No, okay, we only have one model here. Let's sit here and dig through the texture skids here. Wow, we got a lot of pieces to play with. He did a pretty good job on this. He actually named everything pretty good here. So one of the biggest complaints I always had from my artist Morton is that he would not name things and would just assume I could take care of it. Here's the guide system. Let's see if I can, where's the skin of the missile? trying to remember how to hide these. So these are airframes. I assume that should have... Oh yeah, here's a complete rocket. Am I doing something wrong? Or is this everything? I think I'm doing something wrong here. Yeah, it's been a while since I've used Blender. I'm trying to figure out how to do this here. Because what I assume is that the completed rocket is the full model, because if I hide that, that just disappears everything. But then the rest of these guys don't seem to be doing anything. Did he merge everything together? I'll have to actually ask him here later. I think I'm just doing something wrong. Okay, restrict viewport control recursive. Restrict viewport selection. That's right, you can deselect things. I just remember that. There's a light there. Huh. We'll just dig through the model on export here. So let's pop that up. Actually, let me take a look at this real quick. Yeah, cool, he centered it too. That's one of the bigger things with working on this stuff. But he didn't center that part right there. I think it'll be fine. If we run into issues, what I can easily do is center point it down to here. I really need to just go ahead and make the math, so that way we don't have to readjust the center point every single time we try to make something, because if you've ever worked with more advanced game software, they have the ability to fix center points inside the software itself. Unity is a good example of this, where you can parent objects and then fix center points that way. I just need to create some kind of software way to do that, because I don't think I've ever got a model where the center point is handled in the way Minecraft likes it, but that actually doesn't really matter anyways. Why is there... it's still unusual that I can't seem to find any of this stuff. When you select it, it doesn't give me a center point either, which tells me something's wrong. Maybe the model's corrupted? Okay, so... history, undo previous action. Let's move this to the side. Maybe it's because of the texture. That doesn't seem right. So all scenes, current scenes, view, show active, show hidden one level, show hierarchy. 3D view. Oh, I didn't want to do that. There we go. Yeah, you're watching me try to figure out how to use the software that I have no clue how to use. Let's just close this real quick. Don't save any changes, and let's open up a model here. Ignore. Okay, so they are there. So the model did export with all pieces. We are in meters. Thank you. It considers this all one model. And we have quite a few pieces here. I'm going to have to figure out which part is which. I wonder why my Blender is acting up that it doesn't show everything. Ungroup everything. Thank you. That's what I wanted to see. So that's what I'm looking for really quick, is that all this stuff is grouped up. And yeah, I don't know how to use this software either. This is something that comes included with Windows 10. But yeah, I can see the skeletal frame in there. And then I can see... So this is our engine. Can I move this? I can move the whole thing at once. I guess that works. Okay, let's try to separate everything out real quick, so I can see as much as possible. I'm doing this wrong. How do you deselect everything? Deselect all. Thank you. That's what I was having problems with. Okay, so move you over here. You're for some reason considered one piece. I don't know why. Why is that part see-through? Okay, we got another rocket here. I'm trying to decide what's happening here. Am I getting like duplicate objects, or am I failing to completely understand how this stuff works? So this guy looks like a complete rocket. Okay, deselect all. Okay, you look like one piece. You also look like one piece. There's two rockets there. And then deselect all. I can't tell if I accidentally just caught. There's another rocket. What? Deselect all. There's an engine. Yeah, I have this feeling that something got messed up here along the way, because I don't think I should have this many parts. There's another piece. Yeah, something tells me I really should talk to Alex and ask him what I just messed up. Because I feel like I broke the model, not him. Or maybe this is just how it's supposed to be and I'm just misunderstanding what I'm doing. Which is a high possibility. Yeah, this looks like it's a warhead section. That's a missile skin piece. Or I mean some wireframe. Okay, that's an engine fuel tank section, I think. Select all. Okay, I think it's a warhead and a fuel tank right there. You know, I feel like maybe just Windows fucked up on this part. So I think if I remember correctly, Windows does have some issues with importing really complicated models. There's another engine assembly. There's another, oh, that's a fin. That's cool, man. He's got the fin separated out too. You know what? I might actually save that model here later for something cool, because that is awesome. That looks like I could put that into a spear shaft or something. Okay, what else we got hidden down in here? You know, I definitely think this is just Windows screwing up. Okay, deselect all, select. Getting used to this software at least. Although I need to get used to Blender. The plan is one of these days to try to make my own models here, because when I finally get into game development, I know for sure that we're going to just need an absolute massive amount of models. Right now, the game we're working on right now, which is 2D, we're already having problems with trying to just get enough textures for it. Imagine like if we try to go with a 3D game. Yeah, that's a fuel tank. Is that a fuel tank? I don't know what that is. I want to say it's a fuel tank. My familiarity with fuel tank systems says that is. I could go ask my residential aerospace engineer that I know, which is Reika. He would definitely. Actually, never mind. He does. What is his specialty again? I think he specializes in turbines, which means every time I try to ask him a question, it's like impossible to get an answer out of him. Okay, so that's another warhead section. Yeah, I don't know what happened here, but you can clearly tell that I have, I think, triplicates of everything. Because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 warhead sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 engine sections. 3 completed missiles. Yeah, I think this is a goof up on either Windows part or Blender's part on export. So we'll go ahead and re-export everything. And actually, really quickly, we can also just check real quick how bad this got messed up. Um, 35,000. Yeah, that seems a bit much. So you divide that by roughly 4. That gets us kind of close to our face count. Okay, let's open up Blender again and see what happened here. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that every one of these is an object, but I have no clue where they add or in the view. I need to get out of textured view, as I think. There's a solid. There we go. You know what? That's probably why I couldn't see anything, because we were in textured view. No, I still can't see anything. What's up with this? Wireframe? Try that. Bounding box center, no. Medium points. There's 3D view. I'm pretty sure we're in the right view, at least. There's a UV map right there. Huh. Well, I mean, at least we got the completed rocket, so I'm going to go ahead and export the completed rocket by itself and see if I can do that. Export waveform, and we'll do the crafting here later. Okay, triangulate faces. We want the scale to stay by itself, selection only. I think everything else is good. Go ahead and export. Here we go. So if we export just the completed rocket, then I can just run off of this by itself. Okay, let's test this again. I know it's like a horrible idea to use Windows system, but okay, it doesn't detect any groups, so that way we're only running with one missile here. That works. One or more objects are invalidly defined. Click to repair. What did it do? I didn't hit save, so it shouldn't mess anything up. We'll check the edit with Notepad to make sure the file exported correctly. Yeah, we have a lot of faces, which is perfectly fine. So we're running from 1,209 all the way down. So yeah, we're at like 400-ish, which is acceptable. The limit I usually go with is 1,000, and it all depends on the model type. So if you know you're only going to have like 1 or 2 of these in an area, 1,000 is pretty good. If you know you're going to have like hundreds of these in an area, then the goal is like 100 faces or less. So like that's the reason why you look at the micro rocket and the detail is really, really low compared to like the small, and the standard's even higher, is because we know that there's a limit to the number of faces that Minecraft can render in an adequate amount of time. Although this is entirely based on your graphics card, by the way. I do have plans to implement rudimentary models for those who just can't graphics card enough to run this stuff. This all looks good though. So we're going to grab these 2 guys. Actually, I need to rename this. So we were just now doing that. And I have 2 standard missiles in here. Oh, this is standard missile crafting, standard missile segment 2, missile standard object. There is actually a couple updated missile standards objects that I actually do need to get around to importing. Ungroup. Okay. Yes, has some fins on it. Okay. Exit. So that's good. So what's our naming convention? Our naming convention is pretty much non-existent because we have things that are lowercase, things that are not lowercase. I'm going to go with what we have the most of, which is just calling it missile underscore name of the missile. This is actually not my standard. This is Morton's standard. He likes to use underscores. I prefer to use dots. I'm probably going to come through and rename all the models eventually. So this will be missile medium. I probably will rename all the missiles too, because we're going to get to a point where we actually have more than one chassis for the missiles. This is the start of that. We're going to have probably upwards of 5 different chassis per classification of missile. Classification will be size-based. So you have micro, which is under a block in size. Small, which is under 3 blocks. Standard, which is under 10, I think is what we were setting it as. Medium, which is under 20, and then Yeah, we'll work on that later. I'm sitting here trying to think about it, and it's just not working. So we need to get this to render. Now we have two options. We could just do it the old way, or we could try using the new JSON system. I think I'm just going to go ahead and do the old way, because doing the new way is going to probably take me 40 minutes to probably implement properly. As you can see, we have this huge JSON system here for guns, for example. I have nothing set up for missiles at the moment, although it's not that much work to get implemented, and we probably will do it later because I want to give you guys the opportunity to add as many models and skins as possible. So let's see. Now, in order to do the old way, we just come in here to missile here, and we're going to borrow some code from the small missile. Now, how the setup is, well, pretty straightforward. Okay, so we got to define our width. I believe he said the width was 1.2 meters, and I think he said the height was 12 meters. We'll measure when we get in game to get this properly, and it says we're missing something. What are we missing? Get height offset. I don't think I missed anything. Implement methods. Oh yeah, we're missing get render height offset. Now get render height offset is based on the center point of the missile. This is where I actually really need to implement code to auto detect for this. I want to say this is 9. This will definitely have to be tweaked. So will this number. And then this code right here is pretty straightforward. The only thing right here I have to do is just do things like adjust the scale. So for example, I don't want to render this twice the size if it's equipped. Yeah, especially first person, there's definitely going to have to be a scale here. What we're going to do is we're just going to use, let's actually put that there. I need to figure out what the scale is. Okay, right here, render missile world. This code should be straightforward, but we are going to have to change the models here. So we're using the old way of doing it, so that means we're pretty much just have to define a model object and a texture object inside of here. So this would be medium missile model. And we're going to test the rendering for this really quick with one of the decorative stands. So that's probably how we're going to do it. The reason I'm going to do it this way is I need to make sure everything renders correctly before we try to make a silo for it and then try to figure out how it's going to launch and everything. The mechanics on this one are going to be slightly different on launch because we have to do a separation of the tail end after it gets into orbit. That's also going to have to fall back down into the atmosphere too, by the way. So there's a lot of mechanics that have to be implemented here eventually. Put a line there. By the way, the old missile model is still loaded in here. For those who want to make add-ons for here, you can actually load up the old models. At least the one of them. The rest of them don't actually load yet. There is a possibility I may sneak in a lot of the older models as hidden Easter egg skins for the small, I believe, and a couple for the standard. Because the standard is roughly the same size as some of the tier 3s. It's like 5 blocks tall. I think some of the tier 3s are 4-ish. We'll figure it out. Anyways, I needed to get the name of the missile file, and I forgot to do that. We still got to grab the textures, too. I forgot to grab those. Where did I put these at? Right there, missile medium. So I got to make sure I grab this exactly letter for letter, because it is case sensitive. So we got that, so we just need to go in here and define our missile model. As I said, this is the old way of doing it. It's not the recommended way to do it anymore, as this is an outdated system. The ideal is to transition to a complete JSON system. That way the models are highly customizable and they port to the 1.8 system better than this would port. This is, I don't think, will even work in the 1.8 system at all. I would have to write a lot of hacky code that I really just don't want to do. Anyways, let's go get the texture now. We need this one. And the weird thing is the standard missile has separate fin textures than it has the main body textures, and I don't remember why that is. I do know that the standard missile does need updated. It has a rather nasty polygon count. And let's go ahead and we need to pop up to the texture folder. And then we have, I guess we're just going to make a folder here. Because I am starting to transition to using a skin folder for all the skins. And let me go ahead and open this back up. And let me close this. I'll have to ask Alex why I can't see anything in Blender. Because I don't think it's his fault, I think it's just my complete lack of understanding of how Blender works. Sad thing is I used to know how to use Blender really, really well. Let's see why I wait for Google Drive to figure out. Oh, it already opened. I definitely need more sleep is what I can tell here, because I'm staring at the folder going, huh? And my brain is like, it's not there, but it's like, clearly it is there. So let's see, user folder, Alex, medium here, and textures and completed missile. Now I think these are the completed texture folders, and I actually admit I'm sitting here looking at these and I was like, oh, these are actually kind of cool. If you open them up, he literally just painted lines here. Now, a lot of the texture artists I've actually seen do take a lot of care in this, but he just did that and it works. It actually makes the models look even better than they're supposed to look, because that little bit of not like high precision actually works in terms of military equipment. If you've ever seen military equipment, a lot of times you'll see flaws like that, and it actually makes stuff look better. Apparently, here's the UV layout. Oh, that's cool. Good thing he's got one of these in here. I always ask for these from my modelers, and they never give them to me. I always want to have the original UVs for the reason I can come back through here myself, and I can paint these to my heart's content. And it's laid out really well. So I got the body here. Normally I see cylinder rolls for these type of bodies here, but that works remarkably well. I wonder why there's a split there though. Defect of the Blender software maybe? Because I feel like these could just be brought back down maybe. But I don't know how any of that stuff works, so I'm assuming that's he probably used the automated unpill of the model. There is a couple of nicer ones that are usable. Anyways, we got skins. So he made us an unpainted one, which is pretty much red. I could have swore he had a tested one in here, but I don't see it. We got a tan, and then we got an olive. There will be more skins created. I'm going to try to get a couple of my other artists to see if we can get skins themed after the rest of the missiles, because you notice all the missiles have roughly the same template for their skins, and we're going to have to get one for the medium as well, just to kind of keep with the consistency between them all. But this will be the first missile that will have a lot of decorative skins on here. We'll try to get as many as possible. We're going to probably get a lot of military themed ones. I'll probably go out of my way to go grab some Russian and US military skin types. I do believe this is based off of an American missile, though, so more than likely it'll have an American skin for it. So you'll see like the US flag and some model numbers. What did he say it was based off of? Let me pull the chat open here. He's been working on this for a while. I think it's called a redstone is what it is. Yeah, so here's one of the things he was showing me of what these actually look like. And they do pretty much look like this. The military does not have a habit of being elegant with their paint jobs. So let's go ahead and look up redstone missile. The sad thing is it's probably going to grab me. Oh, it didn't grab me one. I thought I was going to get like a Minecraft page of somebody making a missile out of redstone. And yes, we are going to make a skin that is based on Minecraft's redstone. Yes, this is a U.S. military missile. 40th Field Artillery, West Germany, between 1956. This was a short-lived missile. It only lasted for 3 years. That's your tax dollars for you. That's a nice engine, though. Oh, here's one. This is this type of stuff I normally think of when I'm thinking the United States Air Force, is this checkered pattern top with a white body. This is definitely, we're going to have a lot of these style of skins because they're reminiscent of both the United States Air Force and NASA. Both of them love to use that kind of paint on their test missiles. Of course, all their military missiles, you're going to see a lot of green and blacks and stuff. Like, you're going to see a lot more of this kind of stuff. It has to do with surveillance, is that you can't exactly see these on the ground. Although you notice how this says U.S. Army on the side of it rather than Air Force. I think Air Force doesn't care as much about hiding their stuff as everybody else does. And we got this stuff. I do plan to do something like this for transporting these missiles, because you're going to have to craft these and you're going to have to move them with crane. They will not be able to be moved with inventory systems, and they will not be able to be moved by hand. Anyways, we got that. Probably should document that. Anyways, we got that loaded up, and let me grab the texture, which I just failed to do again. So that would be missile, so it would be missile skins, medium. And I need to remove that. And our default skin we're going to work with is the unpainted one for the moment. And the reason I'm going to do that is I don't have the skin system implemented. And I don't need the .png. This, by the way, the reason you don't see PNGs on any of these is it enforces PNG down here. Although I need to static these all out, to be honest. But that works. So we got our missile texture. So it'll get our texture up. I'm being really slow about this too. I was thinking, like, earlier when I was gonna go through making this video, I was like, hey, we can make this all epic, we can do some showboating music, and we're like, it's been a while since we've added a new missile to the game. But yeah, we inevitably just ended up doing this. And let's go ahead and see. So that's good, we're good there. Now I need to go down and find the decorative thing. I'm trying to remember where it's at. I think it's display. Yeah, it's tile missile. Maybe it's tile missile? What are you? Oh, that's right. The decorative display missile is entirely Json now. The only reason it has a tile here is there's plans to be able to switch the skins actively on the missile. So it'll be a GUI that'll open up and you'll be able to change the skin. And all that will have to be stored in the missile itself because there's not enough metadata to pull that off. That's down in content, decoration, missile small. I have a few options how to work on this. But how this works is that we have render states. We have item, equipped, item first, item entity, and then here's your two tiles. So, we could do it this way. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it this way. That'll be the easiest way to just really quickly test the model. I need to add one of these anyways, so it's not like I am going out of my way here. Render type model, parent is tile. Parent is tile. Where's tile? Tile's there. So I need to go ahead and grab these guys. And I need to come down here and replace parent, so that way I can control all the little statistic things about it. So model ID, texture type. Let's get rid of texture type. Render type, you got to make sure you define your is a model or won't load. Also, I need to go up to the top here, and I need to add another metadata value. Yeah, right now this is like a tedious way to do it. I do plan to come through here and make a much nicer version of this. We actually added for loops for the textures and models a while back. There will be for loops for the subtypes. Keep in mind that there has to be a little bit more handling here if you want to do more than 16 subtypes, because you're going to have to define not only the metadata of the item, but then your placement ID. Now this is where things get a little fuzzy because I then have to do a lot of complicated things on placement. For example, specifically these guys, on placement, I need to tell it what missile you just placed and what was its default texture. And I need to tell it how to pick that back up again. Likelihood is we might just handle that stuff in here, as I might be a little too complicated to do with JSON at the moment. That's not saying I can't do it in the future, but there's a bit of work. Also, I need a multi-lock code. Let's see. So we got our missile 2 here. We need to define a model, which is, I think, defined in the shared asset folder. Yeah, it's down here. This is where I'm trying to define all my stuff, because we recycle these models a lot, and we're going to probably recycle them even more than we have right now. Anyways, we want to define medium missile, and then we just want to tell it where it's at. So we already did this over here. All we have to do is pop over here and then grab this guy. We just pop right back over here and we just put it right there. So there we go. We defined the model. So now when we want to render this guy, all we have to do is use this tag. And we actually surprisingly could come right over here and we can render using this ID system. We would just have to load using render data for a set type, and we'd have to load models and everything via that system. I'm not going to do that right now. It will be a future thing. Most likely when we probably do the JSON stuff is after I get rid of this whole casing system. Because right now the casing system is very restrictive to saying you have to be a certain way for the stuff to work. I want to switch away from this to a object-based system that would then go, okay, here's your new missile. It'll be called Redstone. It'll be a classification medium. And then you'll keep going that way and stuff like that. And that is a big helicopter that just passed overhead. Yeah, I live right next to an airport, unfortunately, and I get these choppers that go overhead every single day. Hopefully the microphone did pick that up. Let's see. Yeah, so we got this stuff. Now the next thing we need to do is texture. And actually, no, what we needed to do was pop over here, and then I needed to put, yeah, our model ID right here. Now, what I'm probably going to do is make a different block maybe for this, because I think this is specifically noted to be, yeah, missile small. Though the ID doesn't say that, so what I just might do is rename the file. It would take a lot more work, though, to get it working, though. Is one of the big things I got to fix the multi-block for this, because this is a big missile. You're going to want to have a bigger multi-block structure for it. Not just that, I need to actually have a slightly dynamic multi-block for this one, because this missile's slightly bigger than a block, but not too big, which means I need to have where you can still walk around it, which means I have to see if the multi-block system I implemented earlier actually works, which I don't think it does. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and implement the texture that way. And then what we'll do for subtextures is subtextures are pretty much just going to be like that, or they'll be like the name, it'll be olive. And that's how we'll do texture selection. Now the offset on this guy is going to be pretty bad. I want to say it's 9, so we're going to default to 9, and then we'll fix it from there. The cool thing is I can modify this render from in-game now, because we have those command systems. Even though you saw me only use them on guns, they work on every single render system that uses the JSON system. So we got a texture here. We got to define our texture, which you just come over here and we just do the same thing. Speaking of which, did I put a number? Yeah, I upped the number on there. I was about to say I made a mistake. We would have loaded the game up and it would be like, hey, well, your texture or model did not load. So medium missile. And then we have to go get our texture path. Luckily, we can just pop over to assets and we can get this whole crud list. Unpainted. Okay, so model, yeah, don't need to define it's a PNG because it assumed it's a PNG. Might add support for JPEGs here later. I'm trying to decide how hard that would be. The thing is with using any kind of texture that doesn't defaultly work with Minecraft, I think there's a lot of work you have to go through. Not just trying to get the render, because the rendering part actually would be easy because it just uses I think a pixel buffer to render everything. The hard part will actually end up being trying to get it to load, because I do not think the version of OpenGL Minecraft uses comes with a JPEG loader. I don't think it does, at least. I'm trying to think. It's been a while, because I know the game I have has a JPEG loader in it, even though I'm using PNGs. So the game I work on actually can support JPEGs, although I have not added any support for loading them. The software does support it. It's part of, I think one of the libs I'm using has it in there. I'm trying to decide how useful it'll be, because the thing with JPEGs is they have some pixelation to them at small sizes. They're only really good if you're putting like huge decorative displays in your game. And I don't think I'm going to do that. Might do some storyboards that way. Yeah, I can't think of anything. This is one of those moments I wish I had a webcam too, because I'm doing a whole bunch of hand gestures and expressions and stuff, and it'd probably be beneficial to see this. Probably not. Probably see the fact that my hair looks like Albert Einstein's right now because I haven't bothered to comb it all. That's how you can tell I've been working way too long. It's only noon too. I've been at this since 3 in the morning. Sadly not working on Minecraft though. Doing school projects has taken like a lot of my time. Okay, so we just popped into one of our other test worlds here. This is, I think, the one we were doing last couple times here. I'm not exactly sure, but I popped in here, I think, yesterday to get a picture of this for Alex so he could go ahead and see what the small missile is. Okay, so this guy is going to be, I believe, you. And there we go. Okay, yeah, there's a model problem right there. Oh no, we're missing a fin. No, there's some model problems. This is an issue with normals, is what this is an issue with. So this happens occasionally with people that don't model often. They will make this mistake. I have done it. I don't know how many times when I used to learn model. My artist Grogger does this every so often, and even Morton does this every so often. It has to do with how Minecraft renders, I believe. And I'm trying to think if there's a way to turn it off real quick. It looks nice though. It really does. Really nice looking game. I got the number wrong though. I want to say it's a 7 offset. So let's go ahead and I can load this up and I can figure out what the offset actually is. So let's close these guys down. So what the ID is on this is ICBM tile missile. So it'd be VE debug render load data. Data contains 10 render states. Load state. I still need to work on this command. If you guys have saw the one video where I mentioned that there isn't exactly an easy button for loading this stuff. And this would be same command except set offset 070. Yeah, that's about right. I want to bring it down just a little bit more, so this would be like 6.5. Little too low, so that'd be 6.7, I think. Too high still. 6.5. I think it's just 6 actually. Yeah, it's perfect. So that means to the center point of this missile is 6.6 blocks off the ground. And that is really important because that's how you get everything to render properly. So this will be 6.6. And that means I need to go over to this guy over here, and his render offset is 6.6. This is definitely something I need to transition to Json system. Because every time you change it, add a new model, the render offset is going to be different. It's based entirely on the model and has absolutely nothing to do with the actual functionality of the missile. Only the height and width do. Speaking of height, let's go ahead and check the height. So we know we've got this pretty much on the ground. And then the only thing Alex I think has to do is go through and fix it almost. I think there's a rendering technique I can use. And you know what? This is actually 3 blocks by... Wow, that's actually a sizable missile. I guess 1.2 was not this missile maybe. Let's go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. It's a little taller than 16. So it's not 12. I wonder what missile he was talking to me about that he said was 12 tall. I think it might have been one of the anti-ICBM missiles. Because he was talking to me like, he's trying to figure out what the standard missile was based off of. And that's probably what it is based off of. So yeah, that works. That's exactly the height I want it to be. It's pretty good size-wise. It's a 1.2 radius is what it looks like, and then the fins just make it 2 blocks pretty much, or 1.5 blocks. Yeah, because it'd be 1.5 blocks from the center out of there. That's, yeah, 1.2 sounds about right to that edge here. But it's a 3x3 area what it takes up to. That's good, because that means you'll use like a 5x5 launch pad for this thing, and that's pretty sizable. And this will carry a massive payload. You could probably stick a person in this. That's how big it is. This might be one of the first ones I allow for crew capsules. Although we'll have to modify the missile if we want a crew capsule on this thing. We'll toy with it. We got a lot of room for toying with these missiles. And then, yeah. We got like a lot of things to do here too. Anyways, this missile we're looking at here, right here, this will more than likely be the one we'll just use for launchpad display, because we're going to have a separate one where the engine falls off, so we'll have a warhead. We may use this for the first stage of flight too, but then there'll have to be a separate model for the top stage, which I believe he's already made. I think it was in that giant pack of missiles, because we saw that there was several warhead stages. Just for some reason Blender derped on us on export. And I think there actually is a way to fix these normal renders. Hold on, let me just Google this real quick. So, OpenGL fix normals. Flipping normals. OpenGL. I'm trying to calculate, etc., etc. Huh. I know there's a way to do this. The big issue with trying to figure this stuff out is I can't do a lot of this in here. No, that's actually not a bad approach. This would double the render time, but what I could do is I could draw the object twice. I don't know if I can modify the render state, though. Let's try this. Oh yeah, this is useless. This just tells me how normals work. And I actually had to implement this in that game I was working on too, and I think I've actually read this tutorial a few times. There is a model generator that I have in one of my mods here that uses this technique as well. I could actually fix the normals via software, because you can see that this one works, but this one's flipped. This one works, and this one's, yeah, so it's one of those problems. I'm just going to try to see if Alex can fix it real quick. I don't remember how to do it precisely in Blender, so he'll probably have to Google it. But it does look like a lot of this stuff is flipped. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it in here because it's only those fins on the bottom that seem to have that problem. I think he was mentioning he was having issues with a lot of the fins yesterday, so I'm going to assume this is an extension of that same problem he's having. But other than that, man, it looks good, and we can go inside of here, and yeah, you can't see anything inside. This is part of normals, by the way, how normal works. Actually, let me open up Paint for those who don't know what a normal is. Okay, so how modeling works is that you have dots. So when you create a model, you create 4 vertexes. This then, when combined, creates a face. Then each of these vertexes then has what is called a normal. The normal kind of tells it what direction light works at. So it points in the direction that it's supposed to face, or however that works. And then that's how the game understands, how am I supposed to light this object up? So it'll point out face here. And this will be combined between all 4 of them to produce one normal direction for the face. Because of course you'll have different vertices. For example, I know one thing from Animator, which is a thing I actually used to model for the longest time. You could have 2 corners here, and if you wanted to have, I think it was like a really sharp face, you would put your normal at a diagonal on the corner. So say this was a face and this was a face, you would then put your normal at the diagonal here, and then say you had another one, you put your normal diagonal here. And this would be, I don't think it created a sharp one, I actually think it created a smooth face, and it kind of tricked the game into believing an object was smoother than it really was. So you didn't see a lot of stuff. Personally, I like the sharp face stuff, so I'd like to be able to see the edges. You know, say you look at this thing and you can see the edges on it. That's what I want to see, because it makes it look more Minecraft-like. If it was perfectly smooth, you guys probably would complain because it's perfectly smooth. It's actually an issue we actually have with the normal missiles right here, if I can pop one of these up. Actually, no, this one's been fixed. You can see the edges. But if this was not camo painted, I think for a while we had a problem where the faces weren't cold correctly or something. Actually, you know what? We can probably fix this. I know there's a rendering technique I can do with this. So there's render helper, disable standard item lighting, enable GUI, disable no. Try render handler. Let's try this. Let's see what I got on my block render handler. No, that's not it. Render utility, maybe? Okay, here we go. So there's disable blending, which we don't... Well, actually, no, disabling blending when rendering this actually would be kind of useful. But I think that actually breaks a few things. Disabling lighting won't help us at all. I think there's a cold phase command in this, is what I'm looking for. And I don't see it whatsoever. Yeah, it's not there. So let's open this back up again, and we're almost at the end of the video time, so... OpenGL, so we get fixed normal, so that's not going to help here. On my object viewer, let's try this. Oh yeah, I like this one. That'll work. So let's try this. So GL11, disable face calling. Yeah. Didn't capitalize the L. Hopefully this is a GL11 thing. Yep, that'll work. And then we just got to enable it again. Actually, is this even enabled by default? Enable, actually, you know what, we want to leave that alone, and we want to call GL enable. GL enable. This might work. Or it's going to just say, hey, it can't reload something, because, well, yeah. Let's go ahead and restart and see if that will actually do the trick. Actually, you know what? This won't work. We'll come back here next time and check to see if it'll work in the next video. I don't know if that'll be today, tomorrow, whenever. Eventually, we'll have another video where I'll come back through here and redo this because we got to get this on the launch pad for starters.